Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Urak Lawoi language, an endangered language of Southeast Asia. Can you go into? Thank you. The Urak Lawoi are often interchanged with other Southeast Asian Sea Gypsy groups. So let us clarify what the four groups are: the Bajau, the Orang Layut, the Mokin, and the Urak Lawoi. Here's a map of Southeast Asia, just in case no one knows where that is. The alternative names of the Urak Lawoi are Chao Lei, which means people of the sea; Chao Nam, people of the water; Chao Go, people of the island; and Thai Mai, New Thai. Okay. They are often found in the Andaman Sea. Here's a map of the Andaman Sea, and the red arrow shows Kiri, which is an origin story of the Urak Lawoi. Currently, no one knows what how the Urak Lawoi came to Thailand, but local legend says that Kiri, originating from Gunung Jerai, was an explorer who brought the Urak Lawoi to Thailand. The Urak Lawoi subsistence strategies. The two subsistence strategies are nomadic food foraging and fishing. Nomadic food foraging is when they go on trips, temporary trips during the dry season, and look for food. For their fishing, they usually do it in coral reefs. Their methods are spears, hook and line, trap fishing, and harvesting other sea life. In the video, you can see them trap fishing. However, because of the growing industry for fish, there is a desire for cash income, and it is affecting the way they live, their livelihoods. The next one.
Mm-hmm.
Here is an example of their settlements. They're nomadic. They're temporary settlements on the coast.
Oh.
So the language family of the Urak Lawoi are the Malayo-Polynesians or Austronesians. They are native to Thailand from the region Phuket. The name of the language is Urak Lawoi, as well as the ethnicity. Here's a map of the Malayo-Polynesian languages in the regions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here is an excerpt of the language.
Dapat belai. Surat Pemelanak Tuhan, Surat Luka, pasal 23, tanah 50, Surat pasal 24, tanah 9, Kok rumah 1 nak Yesus.
Okay, so the current state of endangerment is classified as 6A vigorous, which means they use it for face-to-face communication with each other, but it is not standardized with regards to the alphabet and their writing system. Yeah, and the ethnic speakers today are only 3,000.
Okay, and now is the one of the most important culture of Urak Lawoi people. It's called boat floating ritual. As we discussed, the Urak Lawoi people rely on sea. They are sea people, so fishing is their main source of living. How they live by having fish. So to ensure culturally, symbolically, or maybe spiritually that they could have lots of fish when they go out fishing, every year they will have this boat floating ritual. It's not only part of who they are culturally, but who they are economically with this cultural aspect. Ooh, here's, let me show you. I can't see. I mean the reflection here. Oh, that's okay. See this?
ให้ไกลจากหมู่บ้านเพื่อเป็นสัญญาณว่าสิ่งชั่วร้ายหรือสิ่งไม่ดีต่างๆได้ลอยออกไปแล้วและต่อจากนี้ที่นี่ทำมาหากินได้ดีตลอดทั้งปีซึ่งมีการสืบทอดงานประเพณีลอยเรือจากรุ่นสู่รุ่น
Okay, this is what it looks like. This is what they do every year. Okay. Okay, here's the now we discuss the present threat of their culture and their language. First is the most important because it's globalization and tourism. It's a conflict between the native people and corporate CEOs. Well, let's establish that Thailand is number one tourist destination, and because of that, it means more tourists will come. It means that more tourist facility has to be built, and that is the problem, because when you need more land, you take away the native people land, either legally or illegally. It's being done. Okay, and that leads to the problem is land ownership, and that means they will have less areas to live and less area to make their living, and that also leads to their economy, and that means they need to stop doing what they do and move to town and look for a job to survive. Okay, here's an example of what the islands should look like. It's pristine, beautiful, gorgeous. Reason why people want to come, but it also reason why the investor want to take away their land. Okay, here's a recent case at court. This is from Thai PBS News that this is the area that the investor want to take away. They said they have legal paper and Urak Lawoi people have to move out. But then Urak Lawoi said, no, this is not true. This is our land. You did not have it properly. So this dispute has gone to court. Here's an example of a title deed showing they have the right to their land. But still, the investors still believe it's not there. It's what they purchased legally. So it's up to court to decide. We'll see probably in a few years who wins. Okay. When it comes to understanding the situation of their language, context is important because what and how you speak indicates your status. Like in Thailand, English proficiency is regarded as well educated and higher SES because education costs money. It means if you can speak English, you must have good education, and it requires a lot of money. And people will look up to you. It's the way it is. And accentism, where people are discriminated against because of how they speak. There's a phenomenon of standardization of Thai and English as a hegemony in the culture. If you speak Thai with Southern accent or Southern dialect, people will look at you as someone with lower status because standardization of Thai is the only way for them. Okay, here's the map of Thailand. See Bangkok right here. It's right here. Southern part is here. This is where Urak Lawoi live. So where you live, you're always gonna have accent, or you're gonna speak the dialect when you're not from Bangkok, and people will always look down on you. It's the same with other regions. It's not just the South. Okay, here's a good example of interesting preservation of the This is a work by Christian missionary whose purpose is to help and maybe to convert Urak Lawoi people. They're trying to tell the story of Jesus Christ in Urak Lawoi language, which is interesting. I mean, interesting the way they do it, because this so now Urak Lawoi people will understand Jesus in their language, not in Thai. Okay. At present, there are current efforts of revival the language with 3 government agencies. This university, Sri Lankan University Linguistic Department, and Research Institute of Languages and Culture of Asia, Mahidol University, and an Anthropology Center. They work together to find a way to revive and preserve Urak Lawoi language, as well as other native languages in Thailand. Yeah, this work by Prem Sirat outlined the model of how we can preserve endangered language in Thailand. First, through literature. In like Urak Lawoi has their own folk tale, their story about their background, where they come from, and their belief. And she believes that that should be more than just oral tradition. It should be written. It should be part of who they are in writing system. Second, she proposed that textbooks should be bilingual and multilingual. Either one, that should include Urak Lawoi language, not just Thai or English. Third, schools should teach local language, not just Thai or English. They should be part of the curriculum. And fourth, learning community. There should be a place in the community where native people or other people who are not native can learn about who they are from their own point of view, to understand not only language but also the culture of the people. And last, which is probably the most important, is national language policy that foster multilingualism. They are working on that, trying to achieve that. This is part of their process. This is a workshop conducted on January 22nd, 23rd, 2012. What they are doing here is trying to create a writing system for Urak Lawoi, make it standardized, and also promote literacy for the people, for the native people. Here is Andaman Project. It's a project that represents the voice of the native from the point of view of the native, the experience of the native. This project is not for just recording or preserving, but to keep the culture aspect and the linguistic aspect of their people alive and not going extinct. This example is called A History and Culture of Urak Lawoi. Look at this picture. See, the boat floating ritual is represented here. This is one of what they do to have a voice in the society, and they are supported by the government. Okay, what's the future of Urak Lawoi people and the language? First, they got support from the government. Thai government will encourage education in Urak Lawoi, especially in bilingual textbook, and there will be no punishing for people who speak Urak Lawoi. Even in contrast, it's probably more like promoted. You should be proud of who you are, of your language, of your culture. You also have to learn Thai and English, but don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you came from. And even though there will be conflict between community and investor, but that's up to the justice system to work on that. Let it run its jurisdiction. It's It's probably something the government cannot do. It's something that people who want to help them cannot do. It's up to the legal system. And the last one is probably it should survive through community unity. Here's a Facebook called Chao Lei Network, See Gypsy, See People Network. It's where people who live in that area, not just Urak Lawoi, but other natives, come together and share their experience, inform each other of the events, of what's going on there, giving them their own voice, presenting their own experience. Here's the latest example. It's called Annual Indigenous Chao Lei Reunion. It's where not only Urak Lawoi but other Sea Gypsies, Sea people come together and get to know each other and share their experience and get to know who they are, where they came from, who their ancestors were, and not forget that. Be proud of who you are.
So, is the Urak Lawoi language going to survive? We believe so, according to all of the efforts put into preserving and promoting the language. For example, there are these children that they are proud to be Urak Lawoi, and they believe that they have the right to speak their language and to share their culture. And then we'll show the clip there.
Yes, we show the clip.